thankful for a double hundred, his first Test match cricket, and he was always remembered the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, a man from whom he sought permission to dominate at his stadium. Permission granted. Ravichandran Ashwin as well. 3 times he's done this against the West Indies. Fantastic 100 for him today. His third. And the picture of this Test match so far after 2 days play, India declaring after tea today on 566 for 8. Virat Kohli's 200 exactly. And Ravichandran Ashwin 113. 3 wickets for Craig Brathwaite. He cleaned up at the back end, and Bishu 3. Shannon Gabriel picked up 2 West Indies in response, 31 for 1. Yeah, welcome to Straight Drive, everyone. It's been a tough day for the West Indies, but a glorious one if you're an Indian supporter, and they just totally have dominated proceedings so far. My 2 guests to talk about the action we've seen, Ajay Jadeja and Jeffrey Dujan. Jeffrey, I'll start with you. How tough was today for the West Indies?
Well, it was a very rough day, and I think made rougher by, I think, some very naive tactics again on a good surface against a team which was more than capable of taking advantage of that, and did.
Ajay, is this what India would have expected coming second in the world rankings against the number 8 team? Is this a type of start that they would have expected?
Certainly you would expect India to do this against West Indies for sure. The conditions were perfect for them as well. What I liked about India today was it's not just what they were getting. They were trying to push on at every stage of the game, at the start of the day, post-lunch, even at the end. So I think this, what you expected from the Indian cricket team, you got more than what you could wish for.
Jeffrey, you know these pitches better than most people. Is this a fair reflection of conditions?
Yes, I think it is. I think it started off being a reasonable batting surface when it was a little bit fresh, but it settled down into a very good batting surface, and India have taken advantage of that. It's up now to the West Indies to make use of these conditions. They have lots of time to bat. Granted, it'll be against a very good attack, but on good wickets, you always, as a batsman, fancy your chances against anyone.
Ajay, you came out here to the Caribbean in 96, 97 on the back end of a very good period for the West Indies. Are you surprised when you hear how the pitches have panned out in recent times?
Yeah, they're different from that times for sure. But this one, I thought, when I did the pitch report yesterday, what I'd watched on television last couple of years, generally you've seen those low and slow and even dust bowls at times in West Indies. So I thought there was enough grass on this pitch. You saw that even with Ishant Sharma at the end bowling a couple of short ones. There's still enough bounce and pace. When you come from India, this is a good pitch. You can get flatter than this as well. I understand what he means by a flat pitch. But when you come from India, this pitch has something for the seamers. And the reason I say that, and the way the team looks at it, is they've played 3 seamers, which is something that you don't see very often with the Indian team.
Yeah, everything is all relative, isn't it? Okay, let's get a deeper thought process from the West Indies camp on how things have gone for them. The bowling coach, IndVsWI, is talking to Sanjay Mandrika.
Just wondering, Bish, whether you should be the guy doing an interview with this kind of a personality. That's IndVsWI, the West Indies bowling coach. I just find, coaching bowlers a very complicated thing to do, especially when it comes to fast bowling, because there's so many things involved, trying to get that action right.
Well, yes, it's a very, very technical job. You've got to get your mechanics right, you've got to get your action right, you've got to get your wrist position right as well. And we're trying to work and trying to get all the combinations right. It's going to take a while, because when you look at our bowling attack, it's a very young one. Between the bowling attack, we've only got somewhere around 50 Test matches, maybe even less. We've lost Kemar Roach and Jerome Taylor through retirement. Jerome just retiring just before the Test series. So it's a learning curve for all these boys, and we've got to continue to work, and we've got to give credit to India as well. It's a good batting side, it's a good pitch. So it's a very, very hard and tough job.
Yes, it is. It's a very easy to sit in judgment and talk about, what should West Indies do with their bowling attack and their selection. These are tough times, we all understand, for West Indies. Just an observation as a batsman that I made when I watch, Holder and Carlos Brathwaite bowl. I look at their physicality and I look at the tall, strong bowlers, but not bowling at 90 miles per hour.
Well, that's something we've been discussing. That's something we're working on. It's not going to happen overnight. They haven't done it in the past, but we're just trying to get them to increase the speed, to work on certain things, to get the mechanics right, to get them to go over the front leg a bit more, go towards the batsman. Jason, to get him to get over that front leg where he's crouching a bit. So the things that we're working on. But like I said, it all takes time. Jason is only 24. Carlos is only in his third test match. So, hopefully by the time Jason gets to 27, he should be at his peak. And, we've just got to be patient. It's going to be a long, hard road. Patience is going to be the key. When you look at Shannon Gabriel, he's come on leaps and bounds, he bowled with good pace. And we know that we need that extra firepower as well.
Yeah, a couple of tough questions before I ask you the easier ones. When you look at Gabriel, he is clearly the standout bowler in your outfit, but he bowled the least of the three seamers. What could be the reason for that?
Well, obviously he's just coming back from injury. He got injured. He got injured in Australia, and he had to abort the tour. He played a couple of games in the ODI series, so we're trying to get him back to full match fitness, and also we're trying to use him in a short position. We're trying to get him to bowl fast and to be aggressive. So we're trying to use him sparingly in short bursts and get Jason and Carlos to do the holding job.
Is bowling quick more in the mind than the actual sort of physical aspect of it?
Well, physical aspect comes into it, but also in the mind. You've got to believe that you can do it. I mean, I played with one of the greatest fast bowlers in Malcolm Marshall, and he believed that you can bowl quick on anything, So a lot to do with the mind, a lot to do with the determination as well. Speaking to Joel as well, we used to put a lot of miles in our legs, and that's something that we're encouraging the bowlers to do, that they have to do a lot more running, because cricket is a running game, fast bowling is a running game. It's a very, very hard job, and there's no shortcuts to it.
All the best, Roddy, and thanks so much for talking to us.
Thanks a lot.
I have a lot of time for Roddy Estick, really, and he's come into very difficult circumstances. A good interview, actually, some good insight into what he is expecting from the West Indian bowlers, Jadeja, Jay, and Jeffrey still here. Jeffrey, and Roddy relatively well. He talks about wrist position, Jason Holder's front leg collapsing, trying to work on that. How difficult is it to do all of that when he's here in international cricket?
Well, Bish, if we were talking about an Australian team or an Indian team or an England team, we would never be having this conversation, because all of that stuff would have been done before those players got to this level. At this level, it's a matter of fine-tuning. What he's talking about there now is coaching and teaching, which are two different things, which shouldn't really be happening at this level. So it shows how far behind in terms of development our bowlers are, and in the same breath, how much work Roddy has to do, and with not that much time in which to accomplish it. So it's a work in progress, and it's not surprising that we're getting the results that we are.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ajay, we talked today about Jeffrey, and Jeffrey talked about certain tactical things that maybe he would have liked to see differently. Do you feel that the West Indies maybe attacked enough at certain periods, or not today?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Do you feel that the West Indies attacked enough today at certain periods, or not?
No, I don't think. I totally agree with him. And there were opportunities that they got, and not just today. Look at from yesterday. Even the 6 wickets that you picked, the 4 out of those either were at the start of the innings or start of the session, or just at the end of the session. So even when they got a wicket, just an example, when Amit Mishra walked in today, you picked a wicket with Virat Kohli getting out, first ball, second ball after lunch. At the other end, you again had a spinner coming on. It was almost like putting a fast ball, I forget his name, sorry, apologies for that. Shannon Gabriel. It's almost like having him in cotton wool. I mean, this is Test cricket. I mean, you've prepared him for this. This is the moment that he needs to seize. And if you don't seize those little moments that you get in the game. So to simply answer your question, I don't think West Indies is attacked at all in this Test match.
To be fair to that point, Roddy Estick talked about the injury to Shannon Gabriel recently, and they were a little bit careful in the way that they manage him for now, because he's come back off a long injury process. Anyway, we'll turn bowling from the Indian perspective now. Well, not really bowling, because he's a fantastic batsman as well. 300, Ravi Ashwin is going to give us some insight now.
Which I guess we can talk about his batting today and maybe about his bowling tomorrow, but well done. another Test 100 against your favorite opposition.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great thing for me to be pushed up the order first place. I'd like to thank Anil Bhai and Virat for the confidence they've had in me. And I've been looking forward to this opportunity, to be very honest. But it's just that trust came in, and obviously I could put my head down, and I prepared pretty well for this, and I'm very happy with the way it came out.
You see some terrific batsmen around the world, but there are some shots that you play and you sort of are dazzled by it. The back foot punch, for example, this morning. You also feel when you play that shot, that wasn't too bad.
I mean, not really. I mean, I don't get surprised with what I do, but I really enjoy my batting. And there have been times in the past where I've been a little too flashy. And